live on Radio Anu and now officially streaming on the YouTube. Yes, family, give thanks. Blessed love, we do give thanks for the eternal Father of all creation, Negus and Negas, Papa Janai, the Almighty Emperor Haile Selassie the first. And of course, we greet you in such a royal and majestic name, the Father and Mother of creation. We do represent the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress, Church of True Divine Salvation. And we give thanks for such a Congress that stand to land every man and woman under their own vine and fig tree in the full order of nature. We're thankful for our worthy founder and leader, our President, our God and King in flesh, the Right Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, who have established such an order and such a Congress amongst us. We give thanks to each and everyone who is joining us internationally, wherever you may be. Owens Universal, all those on Radio Anu and those who are watching us streaming live on the YouTube. We welcome you to welcome to the House of Priests. I am your humble co-host, Honorable Priest Isaac, and the Honorable co-host, Honorable Kess Westmore. Honorable with us. Give thanks. Of course, you know, this is a program that comes to you every Sunday at this moment, and it is a joy that we could welcome you again into the House of Priests. I would ask the Honorable Kess Westmore, Honorable Priest Richie, to bless us with an opening reverence as we enter into the reasoning this evening. Yes, Majesty, give thanks again.
Bless the Lord, my Lord, and it's a privilege to give thanks. Reverence in the mighty court of King David, Most High, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. Glory be to our Father, and to the Son, to the Holy One of creation. As Jah was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, Jehovah without end. Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. Courage, brother, do not stumble, though thy path may be dark as night. There's a star to guide the humble, trust in God and do the right. Let the road be rough and dreary, and its end far out of sight. Foot it bravely, strong or weary. Trust in God and do the right. Trust no party, sector, or faction. Trust no leaders in the fight. But in every word and every action, trust in the Almighty and do the right. Give thanks to life above all things, O the Most High. Give thanks to fundamental freedom, redemption, and international repatriation, which is the only solution in this Western world, O the Most High, to thy voice and thy power. Let it be done from earth to Zion. Holy Emmanuel, I, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. Give thanks to life again. Give thanks to the Lord, my Lord, Majesty. Blessed love.
Yes, and Majesty, give thanks.
Majesty, give thanks.
Thanks for life. Yes, Majesty will give thanks for such words, sound of power. And I pray all is blessed with thee, I God and King.
All is well, my Lord. We give thanks. All is blessed on this side.
Yes, Majesty. Well, you know, as I said, this is welcome to the House of Priests. And, you know, we always encourage the family to understand that we don't really come here to count cows. We come here to drink the sincere milk. And this evening, we definitely have some wonderful milk that we want to take in, you know. You know, as you know, we decided that we wanted to have a reasoning and a conversation on the whole concept of freedom, redemption, international repatriation. And now this is something that Bobo Shanti, well, of course, you know, Rastafari in general would definitely utter these terms. These are terms coming from them ancient days when the Rastaman rise up. Rastaman was chanting freedom. You know, Rastaman was chanting repatriation. Repatriation is something that gone, you know, quite quiet in them time here. You know, Rastaman was chanting compensation. Rastaman was chanting redemption too. So what we have noticed now as Bobo Shanti, members of this Congress, our culture now has taken up that chant to the point that it is, you know, to the family out there, even those who do not know. You know, because that's the thing, even I know a lot of ones will be watching that maybe not even to, you know, into the culture, know it to the best and au fait. So within our culture, we have a specific mantra there, which is freedom, redemption, international repatriation. Sometimes you'd hear us say freedom, redemption, international repatriation. So what we wanted to do this evening is to look at these aspects of this whole liberation, because it's liberation, any way you turn it, it's liberation, it's independence, it's emancipation. So if you notice all these different terms, you know, but yet still they all have a similar meaning. So now when we look at them and we break them down or build them up, we wanted to, you know, look at them one by one. Not necessarily emancipation and liberation, but that will come into. But freedom, redemption, repatriation. So you hear the priest chanting, listen to any Bobo Shantinaya being the cassette or CD. Am I really way in the past there, boy, talking cassettes? You know, go on YouTube, yeah, Facebook, and listen to any one of those. It's lucky thing, and I say vinyl. Go on any one of those, you know, sites where you get Bingi 77 redeem 77, 77 redeem 77 YouTube, and just listen to the chant, and you hear the priest constantly chanting freedom, redemption, international repatriation now and now. And 7 or 9 miles of Black Star Line, and man start do some max and 13, 21 if necessary, 144 or more. And also, so this freedom, redemption, international repatriation, we want to go into a reasoning what it really all about, what it means, and we're gonna start one by one. So if my Lord, I'm permitted to go into, from my perspective at least, for now, the freedom part. Now,
right, freedom.
Yes. Of course, you know, a lot of ancients will tell you, no, you can't free and dumb. We understand all these things, I understand. We you know, we get that part. But now we know what it means though. And again, a next set of elders will come and say, it's not free and dumb, is the free dome. And the mind is the dome, and the king's dome. So, all right, so we can rock with that too. So what we have to look into, I think most of us comprehend what freedom is all about. You know, you arrested, or you're shackled down, or you and arrested, I don't mean, arrested don't necessarily mean what we think arrested is. Yeah, sure. And police and all that. Arrested means that you are held, you know, in a situation where you have been apprehended, basically, and cannot get away. So when you're in that state, you want to get away. In fact, cannot get away should not be the term I use. But you're in a state where you want to get away. And getting away, obviously, would be freedom. But to me, this freedom we chant is deeper than this. I would like to begin at the point where our so-called freedom, as we call it, was taken away, at least in this chapter here. And I think slavery, as they call it, the colonization of Africa, the scramble for Africa, and the European slave trade. When we look at that historical event, or those historical events, we can see the freedom and the liberty of a specific people, being our people, gradually being taken away. We can just get into the slave trade by itself, which is a bit different. A lot of us, sometimes we're a little, to use the term, foggy on that, wherein we kind of lump everything together. In one degree, you can lump them together, but as a historian, you have to be able to separate the slave trade from the scramble for Africa. because technically the scramble for Africa began in 1885 when these killers sat around the table in Germany and said, hey, listen, man, you take this piece of the cake in Africa, and you take that piece of the cake, and you, Britain, you take that piece, and you know you're going to have the biggest piece, and France, and they sat there and decided how they're going to divide Africa, destroy the kingdoms, and colonialize the space. Because now in 1885, remember, 1834, emancipation done gone, about 50 years before. In the United States of America, they got their Emancipation Proclamation in 1863. So when the European powers decided to go back in Africa, so-called slavery was done. So the colonies now, this is important, you know, the colonies in Africa that we knew as like Ghana, the Gold Coast was a British colony. When we got emancipated from slavery, it wasn't a British colony yet. And they had many of our ancient African tribes, kingdoms that existed when we got the shackles and chains come off of our feet and hands and our necks, freedom, as they call it there. And we were emancipated. At that time, I'm just kind of drawing a picture for the audience too. At that time, the scramble for Africa did not begin. So in other words, when they came into Africa and kidnapped our brothers and sisters, us, you know, from that ancient land, they didn't necessarily destroy kingdoms. They didn't wipe out kingdoms. But when they came in now with the heavy artillery in the 1880s going into 1890s, in that short time, they had countless wars with the Zulu and of course the Ashanti people, etc., etc. We have to keep in mind, family, that at the same time, the Europeans always had a presence there, you know, even from the time of the slave trade, they had a strong presence. Remember the 1700s, the 1600s, they had a lot of battles going back and forth with the people of Ndongo, that's the Congo and Angola and Queen and Zinga and these ones. But their colonialization of Africa as we knew it before the independence period, the majority of that as we knew it happened after emancipation of the black people in the West. You know, so it's interesting to show you how numb we are to that, because that means we thought we were free, we're free. But then now they attacking us at home, but we can't feel that here in the West. We don't even know really what's going on. That's why a man like Marcus Messiah Garvey had to come and wake us up. That's the Elijah in the prophecy, you know, turning the hearts of the father unto the children and the heart of the children unto the father. So we remember who our father was or who our father is. And even making our father remember who our children are. In the West is Marcus Garvey, is the real Elijah that bring that bind back together, bind us in oneness and one heart. So I'm just showing us now, because we were numb. You know, when you're numb to something, you get in the licks and you can't feel it because you're numb. So we were being reconquered again in Africa, colonialized, and we in the West, so battered after slavery, so beaten. And remember, at that time, what we're thinking about is we still picking cotton, you know, because we had to go back to the master to make a little bread and a cup of tea, even though emancipation already took place. So the freedom thing now, I'm bringing all this back into freedom, obviously, because all of this is taking away of freedom, even when we were emancipated and we celebrate Emancipation Day, but yet still we calling for freedom. Menelik II and Ras Mokennen would have defended Ethiopia to preserve their independence and obviously to some degree their freedom, you know. So the freedom or freedom that the Black Christ is calling for. And I'm sealing up here now with this. when he called for this freedom, I realized that he always back it up with the United Nations Declaration of 10th of December, human rights and freedom of movement. I have it right here somewhere. No, I have the freedom of movement, freedom of traveling in the black supremacy specifically.
Right.
You know, freedom to even change your nationality. We know King Emmanuel would have, you know, battled with UN representatives. I always remember one they called Bagwa Singh, who was the head of the seabed. When I hear them terms, it makes me shake. The seabed, and King Emmanuel said, free up the seabed. So all of that to me have a lot to do. So obviously freedom and redemption and repatriation is intertwined, you know.
Right.
But I think that freedom part is very political, not party political is policies. That's where the word come from. Not politicking. Not get it confused. But it's food, clothing, and shelter and human rights. That freedom aspect. So it's more than just taking off shackle. Because remember, emancipation means repatriation. So that means if that is freedom, that's just half of the cake. If that much. So you don't know, many bright angels still there to come. I don't make my words be few. And give thanks for patient listening and attention. Yes, my Lord. Yeah.
Rastafari. Give thanks, my Lord, Majesty. They are here and clear and sound, my Lord.
Yeah, clear and crystal.
Oh, give thanks. Yes, Majesty, give thanks again for the enlightenment and give thanks for going forward. Give thanks to Marcus Mosiah Garvey. We give thanks to the Black Christ King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. And we give thanks to Defender of the Faith Emperor this last year. You know, the three man could link right here, so you know, the freedom. If the man that comes to emancipate himself from mental slavery, you know. And the man could hear the redemption, the Black Christ again, you know, the man who come to redeem, you know. And the man who open up the gates, you know, human rights, you know, Emperor Selassie International Repatriation, you know. So we give thanks again for the freedom. Because as Marcus Mosiah Garvey said, none but ourselves could free our minds, you see it, from mental slavery. And as I said, from 1834, you know, it's really a re again, you know, because 1834 and then 1830, you know, when they came with wage labor, so 1838 is after 4 years of emancipation. As I said, we have to go back to the cotton field to pick. So that is why if the people don't know, this state right now we're in, they say the shackles drop off your hands and your feet. But remember, after leaving the plantation, you don't own none of these fields. Majesty?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Right. You don't own none of these fields. So you did the people them did 4 years again of wage labor, wherein you work for the slave master again and like a wages to buy what the slave master have on his plantation. You see, so there was no full freedom there again. Understand? So the freedom, as we said, then declare we need all of the freedom that I and I supposed to get as a people. So whenever the great Elijah, Marcus Mosiah Garvey come forward now and show I and I have to be free. And I'm sure I and I say now, freedom is not asked for. Freedom is taken. You see, it's you realize now we have to grab forward our minds. And see, we have to grab forward our minds again and free our minds, right? Knowing that, yes, the shackles and chains come off our and I feet, right? So it's up to us now as a race, as a people, to go forward. And that's where the teaching within the Bobo Shanti come forward now. Say freedom. Understand? Freedom, 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 freedom. As in same come deliver you from out of the house of bondage. So that's where the freedom come forward again. So we have to be free from the world. Also, let go the cares of the world. Also, free ourselves from the world, society. So we could come forward for the redemption. Because remember, is they say everything is freedom because what happened in 1834, they said freedom, but they never really give us the freedom. Because remember, the slave masters are those who receive the compensation. And what they said, they were losing their property. That's what they said they were doing, they're losing their property. So instead of I four parents get the compensation, they never do that. And those who were under the parliament, because the majority of them that own I four parents and turn them into slave, right? Is they own them there. And they themselves were sitting on the board. You know that you hear about the Barclays Bank and these people there, the Church of England. So these are the people that get compensating. So you say, we're still asking for that freedom, because up to now they said freedom, but it's not freedom because emancipation, when you look at it now, that the people, were taken from out of the slave masters and turned over to the state. So that's why the father is still asking for that freedom, the true freedom of emancipation, freedom, because still the people are still not free. So freedom through the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, because it's all about a trickery that took place right there. So that freedom, the father has a call for that freedom, redemption, international repatriation, that freedom. Just like when Moses gone to Pharaoh and said, he wanted the freedom of this people. So the people could come and what? Praise the true and living God. And the true and living God going to do what? Wash them off, cleanse them. So therefore, freedom, free the people them, so they could get redeemed. And from the people get redeemed and washed off, they could get international repatriation. So the freedom is necessary, free waterway, free movements, free waterway through the seabed, because it's freedom. So we have a right for go freedom. When Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Black Star Line shipping company, it's freedom. That's what it's doing, freedom to move, freedom to move through. Freedom to have one continent once more, I said the 90 Council, 1885 also. Cutting up Africa, sharing up Africa. We need that freedom to own what is ours. So there's always a freedom coming off the lips of the Bobo Shanti, especially the priest upon the altar, guys, a fundamental freedom, redemption, international repatriation. So that freedom is necessary for us as a people. And as we educate the people, we free the people from mental slavery. As we show them, say, none but yourself can free your minds. And that's the freedom of the King Emmanuel Charles Edwards coming to free the mind and the soul of the people. My Lord.
You, my Lord, give thanks. You know, meditating the as I say, certain things that the father, King Emmanuel, would keep repeating. And I check in one of these things is, you know, I have to laugh, because what I'm going to say, right? If you were to say it, you know, like for example, I don't have everybody in suspense here. It'll be good.
Right.
If you were to go on the radio and say what I'm going to say somebody interviewing you and you just say it, people say, wow, you crazy. King Emmanuel say, all prisoners.
Prison door, fly open.
To be set free. Fly open every prison door. Now that's a mystic thing, you know. What? Wait, you serious? Even a conscious person will say, well, listen, Ras, I know that there has some innocent people locked up. We know that. But you can't let go everybody. You know? And you know, just a few nights ago on the Tiger's Nest, we had a program there that have some brethren there from, I think it's Atlanta, somewhere there in the south. And these brothers, they are okay. Well, some in the reparation movement kind of try to brand them as anti-racist reparationists, if that's the right term. When I listened to the discussion, I listened to the argument. As I said, it was a clip I was running on the Tiger's Nest radio program right here on Radio Anu. And these brethren's stance is that we still in slavery. That's their man stance. And the point they're holding down is that people still in prison. So what they say now is that until every black man come out of prison, there's no discussion whatsoever about no reparation, nothing, because we are still in slavery. And of course, you know, they cite that thing in the US clause, the Constitution or whatever it is, them things, amendments or whatever it is, where I think it's which amendment it is, the 13th Amendment, where they're saying that if you know, you're free now, but if you commit a crime, you know what I mean, if we catch you without your seatbelt or something, you can go back to you can go back into slavery. And literally, it sounds funny, but is that exactly what it is? Catch you without your seatbelt. You're a slave again. And so they're saying that up to this day, that's how it stands, at least in American politics, the United States of American politics. But you know, that does tend to shadow a lot of what's going on in the rest of the world. So I'm just meditating on that too, because it sounds to many that might just sound like a drastic move. Like, how you gonna let all these people here, them killers and whatever. And you know how it is, if you weren't a killer, when you go into some of these jails, you definitely will come out one and some other things. So obviously now, when I heard that reasoning, that's why I had it on the Tiger's Nest, to show the similarity with King Emmanuel's stance. Right. Because honestly, I don't think I ever heard anyone standing for releasing all prisoners, or else we're not ready yet for no reparation discussion. It's the first I hearing that. Sure. And them fellas sound, no fellas, I should diss them. So these brethren sound radical. All right. So them is man that sound like, hey, listen, we go in there and get them, you know. That's how they were sounding. Sure. So I never heard it like that outside of King Emmanuel specifying. But he said over and over again, all prisoners to all prisoners.
All captives set free.
All captives. So that's it there. Not just that's it there. That is it. That is it. Because that's now definition comes in. That is how the brethren them seeing the people them in prison, not just prisoners, captives. That is it. So to me, the agenda line up with King Emmanuel agenda. And that's what I noticed, you know, King Emmanuel agenda, slowly but surely, you just see it popping up in some key places. That's it. The whole reparation thing is King Emmanuel agenda turned inside out. And I know the I would have been, you know what I mean, involved with it in some deeper levels. So you would have seen it firsthand. Yes, my Lord. That's it.
Yes, my Lord. So give thanks again and repeat. Give thanks and verify that, because you know, it's a topic there where you know, people they get away too, because so they look on you know, black sons and daughters as prisoners, and they say, why you crazy, you're mad? Because man, you know, or it's here, you know, people say, well, some vicious crime, the man they go in prison, but it's just natural, you know, because you see, you know, King Emmanuel teaches us, you know, that the black man don't have any crime sheet.
Yes, man. I know that.
Everything that the black man know, everything that we're keeping up as wrong, it caused by the white world. Is they bring us down in slavery. So I'm sure I say you're born in a world of sin. Because some people, or them take that part in the Bible, and it's like people out there, you know, them sinful as them come out. No. Born in a world of sin, that means through the reincarnation, which you see a topic that will come up. You're born through a father line, come through a father lineage, a mother womb, come through the world that you're in right now, in the world, but not of the world to come. So it's a born in that world where all this wrong is going on around you. Because remember, the person you spend most of the time with, sometimes you automatically become like a person. So we're born in the world of sin. So you say, shape in iniquity does mean wrongdoing. So the thing that seems normal in front of your eyes, the people doing, you're shaping and continuing that way there. So I'm sure the black man don't have no crime sheet. All what I'm doing because he was not born with sin. Because the black man is God and goddess of the earth. So I'm saying, free up the prisoner then. Because remember, prison is a way of rehabilitation, and just say, I'm going to come out more dreadful. And say, give me the prisoner then. I will teach them. I'll redeem them. Because remember, as him said, King Manuel teaches us, his word awakens all. Says the freedom. Freedom. It could be free out of your doom that you're in. Understand? He will free your mind. Because his words awaken all. Him teach us of things that were never taught in school. Him bring us to annihilation, liberty. Him bring us to remembrance once more. So freedom and redeeming us. Redeem. It is deemed necessary.
It's deemed necessary.
Repatriation.
Majesty.
Majesty.
Well, since you but that's a good one, freeing you out of your doom. That's a good one there, man. So we have, so how you gonna, we have freeing the dumb, a freedom, and freeing you out of your doom. Yes, and it's 3 times that I see him. I hear you there, I did it a while ago too. The king is saying freedom, freedom, freedom. 3 times. So yeah, out your doom, free your dome, and free the dumb. Oh,
so the captain said free. They check it out now. People don't realize, true. Sometimes people might, and they look at it so terrible, like the people that are in prison, they are in a prison, they go like, it's like you say, you go to your room and you lock yourself in your room. For a moments of time, you separate, it's like you grow on the child, can't come around. But you outside is still in the prison. These many of these small islands are not all of these places where it be is prison. The borders are there, whether you have to pass through immigration, it's the borders, it's those that are holding the fort, and you can't pass through same way, to move through. You see, it's still the shekels and chin as always still a person. What has happened now is that you used to be in the cells, but what happened now to how everything is set right now, and you live in fear. You go outside, and it's like an obedient person. You go outside, you open up your cell, and you go to the plantation, you come back in, and you lock yourself back into the cell. You are doing everything. So it's a free people from that mindset too.
Yeah, man, this one heavy, eh? Yeah, got the free. That's the free. That's free in the dome there now.
Yes.
Yeah. That's free in the dome. That's clarifying the mindset. So we come from that I want to find another word than political though. That international running. So, there's a better word. It in my head, But that runnings there that have to do with the literal freedom of movement and food, clothes, and shelter and rights.
Right.
And liberty and these different things. And now we go into literally the freeness of mind, which is still connected to your circumstance. It is because of your circumstance, just like how they are explaining it, how you live and what you're seeing every day, that have your mind in this dumbed down doom state that you need to free from. So it's heavy, man. Wow. But yeah, my lord, you already came to redemption. So I would say we could just go to the redemption now, the redemption, because it's freedom, redemption, and international repatriation, and of course the redemption. I don't know if they want to start with that one there. It's up to the eye.
Oh, well, give thanks, well.
True.
Freeing yourself from the world of sin. As even when you look at a foundation that is set to free, is that's a redemption ground where you come and dip in the Ethiopian well and full up your bucket, the brim. So free yourself from out of the world. That's what I'm saying. The king man, as we go into the redemption, it's him called free man. Remember, it's about bondman, can be worked out. So I'm saying the free man now is the man now. Because many people mix up that and think that the man married, having family is not a free man. But yeah, I'm saying now, the free man is able to come to Sabbath service. Remember, I'm said to fear, free the people, so them can come serve them God. So a man can free himself and work through. There's a same mental slavery again. If you know, say, no, man, right now, yeah, man, it's Sabbath, Him free himself, so it's a redemption. Because King Emmanuel teaches us now that we have to be redeemed, we have to wash off, so you pass them over the other side. That is why, even I look at Bob Oil, I always say that one, and I look at Bob Oil, is like coming from out of the west, then you have this big great river that you have to pass, the Chalky River that Marcus Mosiah Garvey run through. And when you look at that river there, you can see like it's blood when rain falling, and the way it spread. And it's run down there by Marcus Mosiah Garvey and him dry up the river. So drying up the river, him still make a move again as Moses and dry up the river and party that he could have a way to go over and go over again, and Father Moses teaching the mountain. However, Honorable Majesty, so the Father teaches us now that we cannot go home with the wrong right. You understand? The wrong right. Him say you can't go home because there's a reason why we're going home. To redeem the motherland. So ourselves have to be redeemed from the way of colonialism and imperialism. You say you can't go in the land with no wrong right. You have to go in the land to teach a right. You can't go in the land wherein they're already molesting already. So they're teaching this day called the sin of Babylon has reached up to Zion. From 1834, 1885, yeah, it reached up to Zion. So we have to be redeemed to enter in. So it's a wash-off program that is going on, the redemption of our souls to become brand new. But because it is deemed necessary for I and I to reach in the land. So the Father said, no wrong right. It's just a right have to go in the land. So we have to redeem ourselves. That's redemption. So the redeem now is like, when it's an internal reparation, because remember coming out of slavery, there was no one to even to counsel the black man again, to school him, to bring him forward to himself also, which is a part of reparation. So the Father himself, when you look at the redeeming, it's the reparation of us. So we are in him schooling the black man. Him have the compassion and the sympathy upon the black man and black woman. If you know, so they have gone through this trauma. So it's a redemption now to break them from out of this trauma. Because that is why they're on top of the mountains, if you follow the biblical book, to get rid of the ways of the colonial masters. So you're dropping off because you have a pass over Jordan. So that's the redemption, to go over, to redeem. And it is deemed necessary that I and I wash off I and I self from the way of colonialism and imperialism to go in the land.
True, my Lord.
My Lord.
Yes, Rastafari. Give thanks to the family, just touching 1 minute after the 9 o'clock hour here, the Eastern Caribbean time, Eastern Standard Time, and some other people time. And you're definitely tuned to. Welcome to the House of Priests, and myself, Honorable Priest Isaac, and the Honorable Kes Westmore. And we are definitely engaged in reasoning this evening, speaking of Freedom, Redemption, International Repatriation. This is a program that comes to every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. And we reason on issues directly dealing with the principles, the history, of the Congress itself and the Bobo Shanti Order, Honorable King Emmanuel, Charles Edwards, and Rastafari in general. And we have a serious mantra where we stand by it, even when we have visitors, even though they're members of this Congress, we have to brief them earlier. We ain't come here to count no cows whatsoever. No matter how hard, you know what I mean, just not bite your tongue really, but no cow count at all. Let's leave this space free. We can jump on the next platform and start with our calculators and count as many cows as we want. But we don't count cows over here. And for those who are saying, what is he talking about? We're having such a good discussion. He's going to talk about counting cows. But really, it's all a part of the whole concept, counting cows is our father, King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, who would have taught us this phrase here. And a lot of them phrases, that's the right term that the father brings to us. It's a lot of old people just use them same phrase. Old people telling them same thing there. We counting cows. We watching people business. When you keep your hand to yourself and all of these different things. In fact, something. Honorable my Lord, I just heard the other day from one of our esteemed African scholars, Brother Patrick Lumumba, PLO Lumumba, everyone know him. And he was speaking at a council there, some sort of security council, I think it was in Uganda, no, Rwanda, Kigali he was. And he said, right, in his African voice, he said, the old people would say, when you dine with the devil, feed him with a long spoon. I said, wow. Now, I mean, the first place I ever hear that is from King Emmanuel order. The way that it was taught to me is that the father said, when the enemy comes amongst you, and he was specifically speaking of white people, that you must feed them with a long spoon. That's just how I got it in my culture. And I'm just saying that, so when I heard Mr. Lumumba utter that, I said, wow, you see? And it's Africa, he said that. He said, the African saying it, not no Jamaican saying it. He said, the African saying is that, yeah, when you dine with the devil, feed him with a long spoon. So I say, yeah, give thanks, But yes, my Lord, give thanks for everything. Redemption. So the word sound is really powerful, and we can see that it's a real order that King Emmanuel put this thing in. These three, mighty positions of freedom and redemption and repatriation. Because the way that we're looking at it, even the way that I just delivered it a moment ago, which is true, because you kind of resurrect thoughts in our minds when you speak, as you said. The father does say that. It's free man he called, to this redemption. I think it's if bondman have a problem, it can be worked out. Something like that. I think it's in the Black Supreme. Give me that again.
Bondman problem can be worked out.
Yes, bondman problem can be worked out. It's deep, eh? So, yes. So it's really that you have to get the freedom first. At least in yourself. At least that aspect of the freedom. Because we still crying for the full international freedom. But at least that part of the freedom that a man and man have to work out within himself, and a woman within themselves. It's like you have to check that first. Because it's free man he got. Man that's free. I mean, he never vex with you. If it's one thing, King Emmanuel not upset with you. You're free. No. Enough man tell me they go to King Emmanuel to ask for things that they never expect the father would have freed them up with. He said, boy, I didn't want to go and check this person. I didn't want to go here. I didn't want to leave the camp for a month, you know, to do some business. Boy, I go to the father. Yeah, my lord, you're free. You know what I mean? You're free. Just check me when you return. You know. Yeah, so the father loved the freeness in a man. So I know we are on redemption, you know, but I kind of had to just return again to look at the freedom to show how requisite it is coming into the redemption. You're saying, yes, my lord, go through.
I say you bring it down because you're there now. So to reach redemption, we still have to bring it down with it, you know, coming down with the redemption, you know. So
yes, it's true. And now you come to redemption grounds. Right. Yes, right. So family, what I was even saying even earlier, that if one was to check even the term redeem really means to buy back something. When something is redeemed, it really has to do with money. That's a very important point with this conversation here. Okay, so now, just like the freedom aspect to it, it have different layers. I see the redemption have some different layers too, because now redeeming his people now.
Right.
There are many scriptures that give an example before the coming of the Messiah of what redeeming something is all about. So when you go to redeem somebody, even if it's your family member or something that has been captured, unless they're going to fight them with a sword, you know, it's almost like you have to bring a ransom then. See, a ransom. When people asking for money, when they kidnap people, the ransom they want, ransom captive. So you see that the same method, the whole story there is a kidnapping we went through.
It's true.
And it's true.
It's true. It's true. I just did.
And then now with a ransom captive, a man have to come with money to redeem us, to pay for us. But just like the biblical narrative, everyone know it, that the Christ come and redeem us without money.
Right.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because, you know, I used to ask that too, you know, say, well, because I always say that, hey, one of my things is that, listen, man, we have to rise our standard as a people. You know what I mean? Because I am a strong, even up to now, you know, I am a strong quote unquote believer in that, you know, that we have to rise our standard. We can't be waiting on too much of people to, you know, hand me down. You see, look, Elizabeth dead and gone, you see? Now all the time we waste.
Yes.
Calling on her. Still, you know, and I'm saying that in a bit of humor because it's not just her, it's an institution. So don't think I don't know what's going on. But what I'm saying still, I'm one of them that see that if it's not by lightning, thunder, or brimstone, that's what he's saying. No, Babylon don't answer this cry. Lightning, thunder, and brimstone, or even man's hand would have to bring this redemption. So I see with the man's hand, with the same lightning and brimstone that we have in our hands, if we know how to utilize our power to bring our own redemption. That's how I really look at it. Now, then there's this other level now, again, where because what I just explained involve industry and business and so on. So you could say it involves money. You could say that. You could say it involves currency and banking and business. And even if the world turn a different way, it still involves some level of trade and commerce and assets as we build our empire. So if we're waiting on something else, well, if it come, give thanks, but can't wait. Have to work on our own redemption. That's one of my main things. We got to work on it. Can't wait for nobody from the sky. And them other wait, as I said, look, she just dead. Who else we have to talk? Who we talk to? Charles now? Yo, let's build our own thing. I mean, you can still write a letter or two. You can still do it, you know. for record's sake and to say that, hey, we kept up the work. It's so many of us, so somebody to keep back and forth, you know what I mean, the legal argument. I get that. That's good. Fair enough. But that can't be the mainstay. The mainstay got to be us now. Business plan.
That's it.
Yeah. Somebody have to do that, you know. Not like if I say, hey, drop that. Because when the day done, we're supposed to say, yeah, man, we kept it up. We were there to the very last day. There's plenty of us. Make the secretary handle that. Bam. Right. Business plan. Industry. How much airport in Ghana? How much that's to me? Oh, my Lord. That's where I see redemption. Honestly, to my teeth. That's really what I see as redemption. Building back this kingdom in flesh to the highest of standards. And I know we have the power to do that. And we have the intelligence too, because you know, when you rise and you reach this high, a red light go off, right, bang, 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 and all kind of people start to watch you. So we have to be brilliant. We have to know how to move finance from one institute to another institute. Even though we have our own institute, but our financial power is so big that we still have to use them institute before their business crash. Hey, this is serious, you know. I know, don't feel like giving away all the strategies here, you know, just kind of giving those who may be sleeping, the bones that dry in the valley, kind of giving them a word so they can shake this away. The serious thing, this is, man. Yeah, man, it's serious. So it's them levels I see it on when it comes to us. Man's hand, lightning and thunder and brimstone, man's hand, redeeming ourselves. That's why I strongly think that when it comes to reparation broken down is repairing the nation. And to me, the first step from reparation is education. And we don't need nobody to give us education. In fact, if we waiting on somebody to give us education, we just as crazy as we have ever been. Who? That's not money, you know, that's education or something they're gonna come and put in your brain, you know. Why we waiting on them? That's why we in this situation here. You know, we don't need nobody. We have enough people that have gone through their institutions with enough certificate, PhD, and all kind of thing. And if we need to utilize what they have, you know, we can utilize it and still, just like the King of Kings, the most modern and yet still the most ancient. You know, so we have enough ability, talent, resource amongst ourselves where we can educate ourselves, form our own curriculum, because their curriculum, carry and kill them. That's what it does. It's a silly bus, you know what I mean? You come off of that bus as silly. It's a real silly bus, like a school bus. As you go on the bus, you come off silly. It's an education system designed to train you to keep their system up. That's all. So when their system is crashing, as conscious as you are, you're gonna run and try to save the bank. And try, oh no, all my thing is in there and all of that, because you've been trained to keep up the system. You're the CEO of the system, even though you're dreadlocks. You know, nice job, you know, I'm happy for you, you know. But what I'm saying now, you know, freedom, redemption, brother. This is very serious, my lord. So the redemption part of it, I see it as one of the aspects is I rebuilding the kingdom in its high glory. It may need some prophetic angels with some ancestral spirit to rise and do it, which they hear already, you know. Yeah, man, we just, you know, we hear. But now, the redemption also that Christ would have paid without the money. Because redemption in a spiritual sense is the salvation, you know. Redemption, as in any religion, redemption, the redemption of God is saving you from that world of sin then as such. Now it's the order. That's why the camp is called Redemption Grounds. It is the order, the vibrating energy of the order, that conch shell that blow every sunrise, sunset, and sun in the middle of the sky. That drum that hit 7 times on the hour, boom, 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 boom. That everything, the colors, the red, gold, and green that you see in your eyes, whether you want to see it or not, it's just all around you. So when you close your eyes, it's still red, gold, and green in your eyes. We gone into some bioscience there, you know. We gone into chemical physiology with that, you know. Any little baby that just around that all day long for years has developed certain lobes in their brain different than somebody that never see red, gold, and green, you know. Master scientists we're dealing with. That is the redemption. The king get enough blows for this. King Emmanuel are talking about. I feel now just be a bit passionate with this sometimes. Enough licks he get for this. We know the whole story. That is why the crucifixion of Christ is seen as the redemption. That's why even us, as Bobo said, that he paid the price with 5 bleeding wounds. We say, and it's true. And, you know, religion, you know, we talk about this how many times. We give dates and time. We can call people like, yeah, man, I was there and I'm going to see everything. No, real time I talk to you. You understand? and he do that we can even be, me and you can be on this platform talking about, you know what I mean, we represent the Ethiopia Africa Black International, and that is the salvation ground, you know, the whole hill. That's why it's a holy place, no matter what issues it have, because it vibrates. You think it's a dead spot, it vibrating. Decades of energy that drop on the ground from everything that happened there, every little thing, not just the drum that beat, you know, just whatever that happened there, that the man set there, even the way the house is built, even what the woman do with her menstrual cloth after she done. We know about that too. The earth, they hardly have any place in the earth, planet earth, that rejoice like Bobo Hill when a woman on her cycle. Redemption ground, and he really paid the price without money for us to receive that redemption. Let me just explain that last point before. I don't want nobody lose what I'm saying there. As the empresses within King Emmanuel order, I'm sure most ones know that Bobo Shanti have principles with the woman when it comes to her natural cycle. Anyone's misunderstanding, but this is not the time for me to try to go into the depths now. But one of the principles that we would have learned from our mothers, you know, I could call their name, but in all respect, I wouldn't do that right now. But if push comes to shove, is that when they would have cleansed their nappy, there's a specific code. In fact, let me call her name because she came right on my program and explained this. Empress Lily May. Now I just remember right on the same station here. So what I'm talking about. There's a hole that would have been dug with some stones in it. And they throw that water there in the hole. That's deep, you know. It looks simple. That's gone back to the earth. Nothing we do, even when we defecate, and so most of us, it don't go back to no earth. It gone in a septic. The earth is missing them vibes. King Emmanuel bring back nature to the fullness to us. Redemption, eh? Holy Emmanuel eyes. Last year. My Lord.
Yes, Majesty. Just embracing everything when the eyes are coming down, you know.
I know. I goodness sometimes.
Because, you know, the Christians are asking about the salvation, you know. And salvation, solving the problem, solving the hunger, solving the poverty, solving everything, you know. And you speak of the great Redeemer that shall come in after 400 years, you know, and we give thanks, you know. And we give thanks to Marcus Mosiah Garvey, CMA, and show the redemption of the African people. And this is the man that shows how we have to go inside of Africa. Sure, and I say that a skeletal business, I just pack down everything and go out, you know, to go home with the builders. This up on the mountain where the man transfigure himself again, and you know, show you what Marcus Garvey the vision, and him show the intention of Emperor Selassie, and him prepare I and I to go into the land, you know, with the meditation of I and I great prophet and king. Amongst I and I let the stick is that, you know, in one and bring it, because I let the dry bones live. Understand, and give us freedom and give us the breath of life again in I and I, the way and how to deal with it. So we give thanks to that part there, as I show the I and I, because it's a building, you know. Because remember, Marcus Garvey asks, you know, it's through slack, neglect, and indifference that cause I and I to be slaves. But it's with conviction and action and vision of oneself but I and I going to see the true light of I and I freedom. You see, so that is what Black Christ come with now. As him coming, him come to seal up Mosaic Garvey works. So that is why nothing that Marcus Mosiah Garvey said is indifferent toward the works of King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. And as I even bring forward that ancient principles, because remember, he's a redeemer and bring everything to our remembrance. As in preparing is nothing new. You know, one of the talk Bobo Shanti always say, yeah, man, it's not a man for do that, man. You know, Bobo always make, you know, it's not a man for do that, man, you know. Yes. You know, these are the words wherein is a comforter from the hill, you know. Length of days, man. Yeah, man, a man for do my love because you check it out in India because a man like Honorable Jamati give thanks, Selvin Mattis, you know, who sure and I when him come to the father, you know. He never met Bammy in his life, you know. And the father said, Bammy. You see that he never met Bammy in his life. And he's the man that met the father Bammy and go and get the custom. You understand? So it is a man. So we give thanks, you know, Christ come revive again. And bring I say 5 bleeding wounds he bore, you know, because of many things this man got through to make I and I as even Rastafari in them time here could go through. Even the whole emancipation program, which is based upon with the freedom also, it is the most right on the King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, you know, agitation. As a true earthquake, lightning, and thunder and works of man hands, guys, and man have to do the work. As I say, still man hands use and type the letters, his man hands write it, same way pen to paper, you know. So just speak up, you know, there's the secretary work and there's the other works where man have to do. That's why the kingdom is so full and rounded. So when man gone on delegations to drop off government letters, you know, man same way upon the back of the service and it still go through. And man upon the boom, all industrial engine going, you know, the redemption growing because the father showing us that so I and I shall go in because his leaders himself willing to go into Africa. Man have been captain over tens and some over 10,000 and govern provinces. So in building leaders to go over in the land, you know, to subdue the land. So it's redemption that is going through. As I say, yes, because I fear, as you know, and I was speaking the other day, I was telling the prophet, say, my Lord, see there, you know, Queen Elizabeth dead, you know, and he come like she never did exist. Sometimes when I hear something, I remember say somebody name so. You understand? So me show him say, it's not them, it's the problem, you know. Them is always the dear Marcus Mosiah Garvey teacher say, don't think the white man have been in captivity so long and free. They have to take it. It's not asked why it's taken. And you have to do what it's to do everything, you see. If the white man build a ship, the Japanese build one. Him say, and I everything I have, and I own university, they say, to teach and re-educate and I people. Because that is the repairing. So I and I have to repair I and I self because they say if you wait upon them to repair and I, they will never repair and I. You see? Sure. Marcus Garvey the Redeemer said, give I and I 50 years unmolested. And that's what I and I can do. So it's a redemption now of Africa, which is in I and I. So that is what the priests come now, because there's a message. Because you have to remember this as Bobo Shanti, maybe people must know. Some were brought into captivity. Some went down into captivity. And some were sent down captivity. When you know yourself and you put on the turban on your head, you will know that you stand with a man who was sent.
It's true. It's true.
Captivity. So it might look like, you know, as one coming in, 2 coming in, 3 coming in, and you don't see it, but it's it. When the roll is called up yonder, I will deal, you know, when my work on earth is done. So let us labor for the master from dawn till setting sun. I'm going to share that in resurrection. You see, so we have to remember that, you know. So the man said, we redeem without price, without money. And the money him use, you know, of bleeding wound. Enough button breaking I made and everything if he set up this found. And every priest Harris He was saying him what pass on gatehouse as youth, and him say, youth, don't let them come mash down this, you know. Don't let them come destroy this, you know. At the last place upon earth to gather black people. Don't let them mash it down. Yeah, so.
So King Emmanuel tell him.
Yeah, man, but he make sure saying him tell I and I that, you know, because as I'm a long time, it's him talk to I and I as elders.
Sure.
Oh, they mash it down, you know. Is that man was stand firm, you know, even in the whole reggae thing, you know.
Yeah, man.
The reggae thing side, him said, don't make reggae come mash it up. You see it? Yeah, at the redemption of Africa. You know, so we give thanks to every one there, but they want to show the foundation, as I said, it stands for a purpose. You know, you don't even find people that eat them bread, them have to know what they're doing. So the man said that the yard itself, the redemption ground, freedom, redemption is for a purpose, you know. One purpose. So we give thanks. Father, you know, one of the things when you ask Bobo Shanti going on, you realize, man say, anytime anyone come, when you come up there, even if someone come and say, I want to film in the yard, you know, how much you charge, you know, to film in the yard? Man say the first thing the father tell you must always ask for, you know, is ships. Then you talk about something else after that. But the first thing you must ask for when them come, anyone come, ships. Ships. Before anything else. Ships. Free waterway.
So, and if they can't give any ships, well, what you can give?
First thing that.
Imagine me saying, what I say one? Some ships. Ship. What kind of ship? 7 or 9 miles. Anyway, yes, man, give thanks, man. And you know, earlier I wanted to get to the repatriation, but I still meditating. Well, we done in the repatriation realm still, you know, because for me reach redemption now. Because one thing you said earlier, you just bring up the reggae there. You want to bring that into when you said no wrong right. I mean, and we know the wrong right phrasing is more reggae. I did hear that first when I hear wrong right. Is reggae, man does usually be talking about when you hear man talking about wrong right. You know what I mean? You carry the right word, the rhythm. Well, you don't always carry the right words because that's another thing. Even the words, even with a good song, as they would want to call it, you know, it sounds mystic, you know, but when you listen keenly, you know, I was listening to on Radio Anu an interview with Bongo Watu Rasponages. And Rasponages, if you want to say put in a fire, you know, a lot of ones may talk about Bongo Watu, you know, but I from just studying him, I wouldn't say I know him like that. I would have met him, but I mean, I don't spend a long time around him to say I know him like that. But he seemed like he have a certain level of understanding too, you know, because he was saying something about the musicians, Bob Marley, he was talking about. And those who don't know who Rasponages is, founder of the Youth Black Faith, considered basically the main patriarch of the Nile, being the other theocracy, the other reign. And Ras Elder Bonages was saying it in a way like, you know what I mean, the man take Rasta and gonna commercialize Rasta. Now, to many ones today, they may not see it like that, you know, but in them time, you could imagine, especially the elders that day from Jump Street, and they no reggae was around this, and it was a Naya Bingy thing or whatever it is that they promoting. And because we say it simply, you know, outside of the music, you know, it's a culture. And the reality is, not to break your heart, and none of your superstars, whoever is Dennis Brown or Culture, Bernie Spear, any one of them, you know what I mean? Reggae came with a lot of course, it's dance, it's a lot of liquor, a lot of looseness, and a lot of winking and whining. It just naturally comes with it, even if it's Bob Marley, even if it's Peter Tasha, nobody ever get vexed. That's what it is. So the thing is now, remember Rastafari was like the Abuna them in Ethiopia. It's a holy thing, this is a holy thing. So when you're gonna take it now, and I used to say once upon a time, not just reggae, man was against. It was against taking Rastafari. It could be jazz, calypso. It could be hip hop. They might have a problem with you taking the holy word and bringing it to this artificial sound. And the thing is now, those of us who are apologists, you know, with understanding, because we can, this is a reason we have to have one at a time, Rasta and reggae. But right now, I can't express the fullness here from my perspective. But let me just bring it to a quick stop there. The reality is, as I was saying, if you're going to be dealing with nature and vibration, you can't enter into that holy space, not representing this with the wrong right. And that is why you have to give thanks for even ones that hold firm with them things. Some people say, boy, the man too dread right now. But at the end of the day, everything else going to fall, whether we like it or not, you know, whether we see it or not. It's only realistic. You don't even have to believe in no God. You don't have to believe in Bible. You don't have to believe in none of these things. It only makes sense that at the end of the day, everything that is not right, everything that is not natural, everything that is artificial will somehow, even human beings that not real and so, they will dissipate. And when you study history and you just study the evolution process, it's just a natural thing that unnatural things will be a thing of the past. Believe me, I know I don't want to, it's just reality. So vibration, just for the ones listening, vibration is a very, very, very serious thing. And if we're talking about redemption, redeem, if you notice the term redeem sounds very close to rhythm, the redeem. So now the right redeem is the Nyabingi drum sound. That is really what redeems you as a so-called music. It will make you sick. It redeems you. You know, so the redemption thing, heavy, and I only, you know, I kind of went forward for that point too. You brought in Priest Harris and the reggae, because it came to my mind when you said wrong, right? But you actually left my mind until you brought that in again. So I'm glad you said that. So we could just touch upon that part. You want to say anything about that before we go fully into repatriation?
Oh, that's we just thanks, my lord. Give thanks. Sure. That is, you know, absolutely necessary. Yes, we give thanks for that redemption, you know, because the whole vibration, you know, as I said now, everything coming up because it comes straight down to the Nyabingi part now, which is the part now, you know, with the earthquake, the lightning, the thunder, the redemption sound, you know, the heartbeat sound, you know, bring forward your heartbeat to the level, make it beat on that rhythm. I say redeem, give me the redeem. Yeah, redeem. Thanks for redemption, you know. Yes, my lord. Yeah, man, the version, you know, then they say they ask the redeem version, you know, but it's the redemption. It's the redemption. Right. That's the next thing here.
Interesting. Yeah, I get that one. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, man, give thanks, my lord. Positive. So international, some heavy subject here. International repatriation. International repatriation sound more than just repatriation. When we say repatriation, see this, you know, before I come in here, you know, this is the difference again. This is where King Emmanuel stand out. a lot of us, we don't take the time to meditate. It's not just repatriation, King Emmanuel is saying. It's not like Black people returning to Africa alone. It's an international repatriation. And that is where now every vine or everyone under his or her own vine and fig tree, which really means, as we would continue to say, Africa for the Africans, Europe for the Europeans. It usually be that, and then the ones with adding, I hear ones adding some kind of things, they might not be careful. I know we don't say Chinese for the China for the Chinese, India for the Indian. I hear some man saying, Australia for the Australians, and them guys. No, be careful. Because you see how what has happened there. It's school, it's really a school room, That's why proper teaching and proper culturing is very important. And taking time and grooming, just like previous program we were talking about, from the prophethood to the priesthood to the leading priesthood. You know what, a leading priest to be telling man, New Zealand for the New Zealanders and them kind of things. That is not that far away off track of what we're talking about. You know what I mean? It is anthropology, King Emmanuel showing us here, my Lord. It is ancient, understanding of human beings the Father showing us. So in other words, just like you can't take a polar bear from where polar bears are and bring them anywhere in the tropics to live, unless you put them in a big refrigerator or a freezer for the polar bear to survive, like a zoo. You have to take it out of its habitat. Now, even in the tropics, something that grows on the continent at the same latitude would grow differently in the Caribbean. It's on the same latitude, in the same tropics. But because it's on that side of the planet, in the different elevated land, it grows differently. You grow better in Africa. We all know that. Everything looks different in Africa. Look at the Indian elephant and look at the African elephant. Look at even India has some lions too. Look at the Indian lion, African lion. Look at the same Chinese elephant, and so China have elephant. You can see the difference in the African everything. Alligator, crocodile, they're usually bigger and have a more massive build. And the same thing with the food. The same thing, basically, even the people. Not necessarily to say they're giants, but they are more differently formed then. I think everyone knows, even from such times till this time, even when you look at the shape of the Black woman in comparison to any other woman in the world. Oh man, I talk about Japanese and so it's a totally different thing. I know some people laugh with that. They purposely say it like that because even the physiology of the African specimen is different. So now, the science we've gone into, so when King Emmanuel say that all nations are supposed to return to where they belong, that's why a man can't be saying Australia for the Australians. Who is the Australians? Not them people that in Australia, no, Rasta. Them is Europeans. Those are the prisoners that Captain Crook, or Captain Cook as they call him, and so brought them killers there from out of the jails of Britain to go and inhabit New Zealand and London and Australia and kill off the Aboriginal people that were there. These are the understandings that even King Emmanuel teaches. King Emmanuel teaches these history. So even as historians taught by the Black Christ, we have to even know what we're talking about when we're saying international repatriation. And then we still have to comprehend that the earth belongs to us. This is real humanitarian vibes we do in here. The earth belongs to us. We know that. It belongs to the Black man. But what we would have done is as if you have a mansion, my Lord, and it's your mansion, but you say, hey, I have a few guests here. Brother, that's your room. Now it's your house now, but you're not going to go in the man's room. It's his room. You give the man a room until whenever he expire. And your room, and your room. I see that is what the international God of justice would have done. You know, we're not killing nobody or whatever. You know, these are our children who came out of our through mutation, which is a scientific term, realistic. Other races, as they call them. I know some people don't like them terms because they say this man and that man invented the concept of race. Well, I don't know who invented the concept of race, but I know obviously there are different type of people on the planet. You don't have to tell me who invented anything. I can see with my eyes that there are different type of people, you know, and it is factual that all the other types of people would have filtrated. These are scientific terms, filtrated or mutated, out of the black man, and it's just looking at genes and cells. Other people are mutation of the black man. So realistically, we know that black man would have the black man as we know him, a real human being now, not no monkey man. The black human Homo sapien would have been on this planet for almost 100,000 years, according to science, before anyone else. So the earth obviously would have been ours. And those who would have evolved where they evolved, we just tell them, hey, you can hold that part. It's all right. No problem. We'll check you every now and again and make sure you're keeping the thing correct. But over here belongs to you. That's no, let me get it straight. That's international repatriation, because the father talk about repatriation again, you know, which I wouldn't even touch that one right now. Maybe the I would, you know, touching on that. But to me, that is what international repatriation is all about in a quick nutshell, my lord.
The same Marcus Mosiah Garvey again. If we are to believe in the divine injustice, realize that the time is coming when every nation, every race have to sit under their own vine and figure, you know. And it's still Micah chapter 4. So we give thanks for that international repatriation wherein now is a fulfillment of Emperor Haile Selassie I, you know, until all Africans stand and speak as free beings and equal in the sight of the Almighty, until they are no longer first class or second class citizens of any nation. So we give thanks to the international repatriation, the man that come to give a justice to each and every one. You know, their own fine and victory. Just they say it's a garden. And sometimes you have your workers, them, you have this big land, you know, enough, you know, give your workers them some part on this land sense. That is what you man see a very good family and thing, you know. So I just say you divide up and give, you know. So everyone will have to sit under their own vine and figure. Say nation shall not live up straight against nation, neither shall they live in war anymore. So that is what it is about. The fundamental freedom, redemption, international repatriation through the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And everyone has the right to freedom of movements. Everyone has the right to nationality. So that's why it even come through even this international repatriation. Everyone has the right to leave any country, including his own, and return to his country. Because remember, in 1961, Jamaica did receive a renunciation paper wherein people could renounce their citizenship of Jamaica. Especially remember that delegation went to Africa there, so you could either wanted to be to go to Syria alone. You have choose if you wanted to go to Ghana, Nigeria, Libya, Ethiopia. That's a renunciation paper that was handed out. So even when Bobo Shanti march in Jamaica, we always have a copy of that renunciation paper. So that was something that was passed. That is why in 1962, King Emmanuel Charles said was a teacher that the independence of Jamaica is bogus because people came forward their nationality. So before you could force Jamaican upon the people then. Again, and that's why it come back again to the repatriation again, because it should have happened already also. So because it was set to even happen. So when you look at it now, with the bogus independence, now not checking the people what they wanted, you forced on Jamaican citizenship upon the people. right? So it's an international movement, and it's everyone under their own vine and fiction. But as I say, it's Africa for the Africans, those at home and us abroad, India for the Indians, China for the Chinese, and the Europe is for the white world, and the small islands, not inheritance, the our Indians. And so and I learn of it. You know, this time this man then say Australia because you see, if you know the original inhabitants of those lands,
Yes,
right? So, and the culture remain the same, so therefore it can be handed over because it's a relay. And now the international repatriation, every offices have to be dealt with because it is now a government to government issue that's be dealt with. So therefore now the Secretariat of King Emmanuel Charles Edwards now working internationally. Transportation, yes, I can have my own transportation also. So it is about the, he said we're taking out illegally, we shall return legally.
wow.
Right, so therefore there's dialogues with the heads of government and those that are responsible, because as you stated, it's not about the queen that was there, it is who is in office. No, I and I know. So therefore, when the ships go up on the harbor and I put our ships up on the harbor, it is declared already, says free waterway. But they are right, because that's why it's the 4-point document of repatriation. We said Britain should have assist with transportation, and all the people, all the European countries who benefited could just come together. All of them could join the forces together and to provide transportation. You understand? Because it is proven that when they want to go overseas to fight their wars, they have big battleships. So it's not something that is far fetched out of their sight that cannot be done. But still, in that sense, because as the father said, he make a way through the wilderness. So be like government also knowing say they will also be stubborn in their doings, but that way was prepared in the wilderness also to go home. So it's whether by earth, sky, and sea. You know, some people that walk, remember I know this bridge, they walk into Ethiopia. Also, I'm not to remember that bridge name, but he traveled from afar.
Oh, and train and so.
Yes. Yeah, man.
I think the first man that hit Chashaman is not him, man.
Right.
Yeah. Dyer, something Dyer. I don't know,
don't-
but yes, we know it, yeah, for sure. Yeah, walk from I think from Liberia.
Right.
Yeah, wow.
So,
Wow. Just to meet the promised land. We done there already, eh? Now get a double promise.
so that is where even now, because remember in Nigeria in 1968, Nigeria people in Jamaica and actually all small islands also, because once Jamaica made the move, that's it. And the government of Jamaica used share at that time, they turned them back. Now Nigeria is a country that is always doing some works in Jamaica. I know they run out the Nigerian High Commission already out of Jamaica and they have to return again. And it was 1988 when there was a delegation that King Emmanuel Charles Edwards sent, and our Empress Esther was on that delegation also, wherein the Nigerian government showed that it's a government-to-government issue, and the Jamaica government has to meet with them also. Right, so they couldn't just grant the people of the country, but Nigeria is willing and ready. That is why even 1988 again, that when you check out, read that Yushua's document, we have that on the YouTube also. We're showing that the Nigerian High Commission has come for his people. So it's always that repatriation, that international repatriation is upon a government-to-governmental issue. Now, I shall read myself, but also their governments have a part to play in it. And that is where the officers, and every priest Michael always say, if the if the office of King Emmanuel Charles Edwards is not open and running, the Black Star Line has not started sailing. So once the office is there running, the international repatriation movement is going on. So it's a place that has to be open all the while. Understand? And you see, that is why even the fight and the war, from them time, when you look at it, to see the office of the King Emmanuel Charles Edwards got burned down there, 2017 coming down, you see. It's terrible thing that the office, there's a war and other things Christ going through, you know. It's a war, you know, that's why even they touched it in the document, they show it, say, in 1966, after His Majesty came, before he reached 1970, they burned down Baka Wall. And in the 50th anniversary again of Ermias Salis Selassie, the 50th anniversary, 2016, not reaching the year 2020, the office of King Emmanuel Charles Edwards burned down again with international documents of repatriation. So even many times as Bobo Shandi, probably we're not looking into certain things and open up our eyes and see the war that is fighting and say it's not just so, because I mean sometimes look at it now, we might get too relaxed. You see it, and I just stated earlier on in the program about when Rastafari is a chant about repatriation. Understand, these are word sounds that come off of the lips of Rastafari lips. You know, the word sound that they proceed. Repatriation, Africa for the Africans. Right now, you don't get all of that fire towards repatriation no more. You understand? It's like people, you get complacent and just relax. That's why sometimes you have to, when you look at what King Emmanuel Charles Edwards said, doesn't want any compensation down here in the Western world. Send it in Ethiopia, you see, because people get too relaxed. And because of all this, you know, sometimes you still have to be careful what you're agitating for in the Western world. And say, if anything, give us a go on, we'll deal with it in Africa. Yes, and so I'm telling you, the whole mission in the Western world is to gather the people and to go home. And I stand and the skilled man and the skilled woman. That's why I'm saying, before anyone going to Africa, it is very important that they pass through the foundation. Even as a Bobo Shanti member right now, if you say you're going to go home, and you never pass through the foundation. Important that you pass through the foundation. You have to walk through the river, you have to walk through it. The salvation, you have to walk through the foundation. Even if you say you need to go to Africa next year, next month, you need to even pass through one time. You have to see the vision, you have to see it. Because no matter the states or the heights, there's a vision that a person gets that is Zion bound in the meditation. When he passes through the camp, it's a different vision. Everyone knows what they see in themselves. You know, so international repatriation works still have a got you, because when you look at it, for example, you have a 1992 document, and that's where it speaks of, you know, Mr. Coates and Bragwat Singh and all these people. So when you look at it and you read these documents, now you realize that
8th of November.
Right. And I, as the people, members of the Congress, that says, you know, upon a pamphlet or not pamphlet, an anniversary where King Emmanuel said, and all those who make themselves a member. That is why the teachings of King Emmanuel Charles Edwards is not a thing that to be hugged up and locked away, that thing have to be published. Because there are many people that don't have locks, you know, that make themselves a member, because you go for the comb, the bonnet, and the skull head, you know, to be a part of the repatriation, you know. You know, remember, people are soldiers, you know. King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, Congress here to the church. You know, one soldier said to me once, he said, Ross, when I was youth, you know, I used to hide my Selassie button, but these young soldiers nowadays, them brave. They wear it on them uniform. You see?
The real thing, that's the real thing.
You see, so that is what him speak of. You know, soldier, because remember, you know, by right, the red, black, and green, red, gold, and green must be flown every morning up our company.
Yep.
So, I wonder is I and I as members of the Congress work within the full authority and integrity of King Emmanuel Charles Edwards and demand what is there, and whosoever is in these different respective offices, understand, it's not, who that man is about I and I. So the work that is left there for that international repatriation that is to be dealt with, that is to be done. It must be over and over. You see the pamphlets of King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, his pamphlets wherein, man's supposed to sit down like a, and just gather a chalice of burn and they read and they listen to the work that is supposed to be done and say, my Lord, this United Nations thing here, this thing what King Emmanuel say here, what are we going to do about this? Because sometimes we might want to do another thing. You understand? But the thing is that those things, those are doors that him tell and I say, you must knock on those doors. Knock on those doors. No matter who is there, because the office is set for it. No matter who is Prime Minister, the office of the Prime Minister institute that is constitutional rights and everything go through. No matter that man dead and gone, and the things that she was agitating because him dead and gone. That is what the office stands for. Just like the priesthood order. It's an office and it stands for a purpose. So likewise, everything towards repatriation. So it's an international repatriation. You understand? So because of an international repatriation, that is why the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards would, because remember, when the first person that was traveling outside the foundation to fly away, it was Honorable Priest Figo was going to the airport with him. And he could tell Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards that he's going to drop the Honorable Priest at the airport. And Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards said, the Congress gone international. You see it, so in each area, each field, the fight that he gets on the Jamaica government, in every era, a man must see where he can bring up his government wherever he's reincarnated, because another international repatriation that again, wherein he is reincarnated, call upon his government upon such document, even the call upon the Jamaica government. Says you're supposed to take it up with them, but it's to call upon the Jamaica government also. You understand? The man that come and learn the orders from Chile must call upon him Chilean government to call upon the Jamaica government to deal with these things. Remember in Congress, the Brazilian also call upon his government to call upon the Jamaica government. That is why even certain things is reaching I and I even upon King Emmanuel Charles Edwards Foundation, because right towards repatriation, because this international repatriation is coming up. That is why its office is burned down. Everyone have a hand in that. But it is right and paramount important matter wherein members of the Congress all over call upon their government, to call upon the Jamaica government to know that they have international people also from Antigua, from Barbados, from Chile, that goes to the university, goes to the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress, and for their protection also. So the Jamaica government must see to it that order and restoration is always happening there, because it's an international office, it's an embassy for the repatriation and redemption of Black people and all people under their own vine and fig tree. So the international repatriation is a massive work.
So without the office, it by right, it can't happen without the office.
The headquarters.
Yeah. Because if it's an international government, the government, we don't have a office. I mean, the secretary, what's going on? We working, wow, without a shelter then, without, because, okay, it's time to move now. As I say, the office, I see it, man, I get it, because it's not make-believe, it's reality. Once used to say King Emmanuel said that Jamaica gonna call upon I to run the country.
Yes.
Because of the state of the country. I don't know exactly.
And then again, the father is 6 to 7 months ruling.
6 to 7 months ruling.
Understand? 6 to 7 months ruling, because you see, when you look at it, he needs a member state. And the Jamaica government is stubborn to be a member state to deal with this repatriation issue. Therefore, to take the country and run the country to be the representative of the Jamaica government at the UN office to deal with it.
That's the fact. That's the fact. Yes.
Yes. So therefore, that is why the Father is bidding us also as a government to deal with international affairs. The base of the earth shall confound the wise and prudent, and the base of the earth is just God. That's why I said the government for the poor and have not, and then come turn them into an international royal nation, well, kingdom of people. The people never went to the first class university, but he has come to the international university, where we stand up on, because it shows where the Father says everyone must write their governments. Every single person.
I hear you.
But they're free international repatriation. Every from the 5-year-old.
I hear you, man. Wow.
It's like you have essay competition. It's like if the 5-year-old is 60, everyone's supposed to write their heads of government towards repatriation. Those people should get in flocks of bags of letter every day for the repatriation. So the international repatriation, the international family.
Yeah, man, that happened in a day, man.
Yeah, man, the international family. That is why even when you look at it, the Father leave many words, He speak of a great march that will happen. No, I might have march all over the different part of the world. You understand? But you have sometimes people say them going to Mecca because I'm going to so and so. But there's a march, the Emancipation March that King Emmanuel Charles said was called for in Egypt, Jamaica, to King's House. Now, if you look at a march like that, where you have hundreds of bubble all over the world coming to spend a moment of time to rock, the earth, the foundation and camp on the foundation upon that day, and make that John did stars coming in the Isle of Patmos. A rose in white for that moment of time, A man might return to in different places of abode, but for them moments of time, and the earth can really shake, and shake terribly too. For the repatriation. Because the Father asked a Sabbath service at King's House,
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Service must be kept at King's House. And service at international service. And we just in this time, when you look at many things that the Father said, it's wonderful in our time. Because it was said, as the prophecy said, not unto them that he prophesied unto him, but to the generation to come. So in this time, you have these big screens and all of these things, and they could look on it in Times Square and New York City and all of these places.
It's true. Interesting. Yeah, that can work. 4 wings.
4 wings of earth. Because I showed the door of Rastafari, right? In that time. Yeah. That World Cup.
True. Yeah, my World Cup is right. Down to the chalice. Yes, my Lord, you don't know. I see we have almost like a 2 hour on this one here. We will be looking to seal up any moment now. I think Freedom, Redemption, International Repatriation. I think we did a thorough analysis. Honestly, when you listen forward this again, you'll see. I think we honestly did a thorough analysis in kind of highlighting not only what freedom and redemption and international repatriation is, but how they kind of blend into one another and, actually going up the ladder. It's clear. If one never knew before how to differentiate between them and see how they blend into one another, I think this program would have done that. Even as we go along and even as I speak and I learning, yeah, man, thanks for this, our experience here, as we would say. To my Lord, I would just seal my words at that, and leave the idea to give any sealing words and And of course, bless us with international, reverence before we seal out. Just remind the audience that we're coming again next Sunday, 8 p.m. Radio Anu for another welcome to the House of Praise. Through my Lord.
And Her Majesty, give thanks again, give thanks to the ICM, give thanks to the Vision, give thanks to the whole staff at the Radio Honor there, and her Empress, and her Prince, and her Princess, and each and every one also making this possible, bringing to the nation, publish and conceal not. We give thanks to the viewers, we give thanks to those listening on the radio, we give thanks to those on the YouTube, and we give thanks to the presence of each and every one, man, woman, and children. And may the blessing of Rastafari but all of you all in this time. Give thanks for listening here. Could spend a moment of time with us. And remember, the Father said, there's always a repatriation in the mind, always have it, that's your thought before you go to your bed and in your rising. And your day-to-day duties, what you're doing, don't leave it out of your meditation. Fundamental, absolutely necessary is freedom, redemption, international repatriation. Is it? Fundamental, which is absolutely necessary, freedom, redemption, international repatriation. So it means a fundamental freedom, redemption, and international repatriation. For a survival, it is absolutely necessary. So we give thanks for the Africa Black International Congress again, and we give thanks each and every member. And there's a work for I to be done. Each I know the works that we're supposed to do for the Congress. No man have to tell no man. Every man know his works. Give thanks to the Black woman and the children again. Give thanks to the faithful woman amongst I. So give thanks to all that's said and done. Next strong again and beyond. House of Priest and every priest Isaac will give thanks. Reverence in the mighty courts of King David. Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie I, Jah, Rastafari. Glory be to the Father and to the Son, to the Holy One of creation. As Jah was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, each ever without end. Selassie I, Jah, Rastafari. Revive thy works, O Lord. Holy Emmanuel I, Selassie I, Jah, Rastafari. Freedom, redemption, international repatriation.